Hi everybody, this is Archana here. Today on Read, Write, Inspire, I wanted to show you a glimpse of the reading journal. One of my resolutions this year was to read more books and also to write at least a few lines about the books that I read. So, as a part of that, I started maintaining this reading journal. I have already maintained reading journals before. In fact, this is the one which I have maintained for the last, I think, couple of years. And the problem is, I don't even remember where I bought this, but this has some of the worst paper that I've ever encountered. And let me show you for an idea. Yeah, so Becoming a Writer by Dorothy Brande is my most favorite book in writing. And if you just see the paper, I had to write in ball pen, and even then it's seeped in through the pages, and it's a real mess in fact. But I don't know why, though I waste a lot of journals, this time I felt I didn't feel like giving up the book. So I stuck to it for quite some time, and it got worse and worse. Finally, I had to give up, and I decided I'm going to start a new reading journal this year. I've had enough of this one. So with that, I stopped using this one, and yeah, so that's all those things which I do. I stick paper in my journal and everything else. So anyway, enough with the old one. I started the new journal. This came as a gift for my birthday from my mother. It's by Paper Club. The quality of paper is actually amazing. In fact, I'm finding it much better than even a Moleskine. And I wanted to be a little bit more systematic this time. Last time it was all haphazard. So what I did is I started creating this journal. I started making first an index where I started noting down the books which I read, the genre which they belong to, and whether that have I put it up on my blog, have I put it on my review on Amazon Goodreads too. So I started doing this kind of thing, and yeah, so I've read 18 books till now. That's a good thing, and considering that we are still in March. So another thing, I don't know, this was a fancy which struck me this year. Hemingway had given a reading list for writers. So I took a printout of that and I put it up because I had this idea of reading all these books this year. In fact, it helped that except for one book, I have already all the other books. And most of them, like Wuthering Heights and Huckleberry Finn, Anna Karenina, are books which I've already read. So I might be doing this year. I'm not sure. Not yet started even one, as you can see. And Tamil was another idea. I had wanted to, read at least a few Tamil books this year. I think I will be doing that. Yeah, apart from this, I also had tried to maintain a to be read list in which I've, as you can see, read one. Now, yes, before I proceed, this is something which I did new this year and I loved it. Okay, yeah, this is it. So, I took out the cover image of the books and put it on a Word doc, took a color printout, cut it out and stuck it. And it's been so much fun actually. It's kind of spiced up my entire journal and it makes it look so attractive, and I just loved it. So I've done this for all the books. By the way, I am going to cover up the reviews and my own notes which I have made for some of the books of authors whom I personally know. Nothing, I don't know why I did that, but I felt these was kind of something very personal which I write, So I also write about what I liked in a particular book, what I want to use in my own writing journey, and which I don't want to use, and which I didn't like also in certain places. So I'm covering that up. It's a warning. So these are some other books which I have read. And this comes to non-fiction. So what I do in non-fiction is I have this habit of maintaining detailed notes of most of the non-fiction books I read. So, as you can see, this book has been these. I'm still, the notes are just never ending for this one. I know it seems too much, but that's just how I read it. And then some of them I have written single line also, so it just depends. So this was another book which was just a find of the year for me. How to Write a Lot. I loved the book, and I think you should also pick it up if you come across it. This was another one. Monica Lionel has written so many books on writing, and I didn't know how I had not come across her before. So anyway, this was a book which I picked up this time, Write Better Faster. I loved it, and again I maintained a lot of notes on that. I also read another two books by her, but I have not mentioned them right now in my journal because again I need to maintain some more notes on that. So I thought let me get back to it again. And this was another book. I've read it before. This is the second reading this year, and I wouldn't say it's great, but then I were certain things that I wanted to research on this, so I had read the book. This was slightly disappointing, but yeah, it was a fun read, but it was not Pamuk's best. He could have been what do I say, it could have been a lot better. It dragged at places. There was one thrilling point in the story which made me fly through the pages in between, but the initial beginning and towards the end, it was a bit of a drag. This was a book that I really looked forward to from the author. I hope the author decides to write more. This is another surprising find from Tidal Waves, and that's it. So this is what I do to maintain a reading journal. What about you? Do you maintain a reading journal? If yes, if you can share some images or maybe describe your reading journal, I'd love to see that. Bye for now.